So Aganos came out. He's a big giant golem with a bunch of armor that he can use to go through all kinds of things. You're probably wondering, just as I was, how much does Aganos really have to care about you? And the answer is not a lot. He doesn't really care about anything in a lot of situations. And I'm going to show it to you. One thing you'll learn pretty quickly is that in general, meaty attacks aren't really that great against Aganos when he has armor. That meaty fireball setup with Jago usually allows him to get a 50-50, but against Aganos, not really that great of an idea. Even if the meaty setup in mind does multiple hits, a lot of the times he can just kind of get through it with whatever normal he's going to. Keep in mind that depending on how many hits of armor he has, he can go through anything, even a 3-hit uppercut like Fulgor's. If he has multiple hits of armor, even things like this anti-throw setup with Jago don't really work that well. Even stuff like Orchid's Wrecker Pressure is actually unsafe if he has enough chunks to absorb each hit, so you gotta keep that in mind when you're going for this kind of stuff. Killer Instinct also has a ton of moves that travel horizontally that are usually pretty safe or can be made safe depending on your instinct or meter. These don't really matter when Aganos has armor. Orchid's Slide plus Firecat is a really classic example of an easy way in when you have instinct. When Aganos has at least 2 chunks though, it's not going to happen. Sometimes he doesn't even have to have chunks. All he needs is meter. We'll get into that later. Depending on how many walls you have on screen or how close you are to them, you can also get better punishes if the situation's right. Virtue's Jump Heavy Punch hits 3 times and is a pain to deal with. Even if she hits it really high on your head, she's safe. That is unless you have at least 3 hits of armor. Depending on the situation, you can actually be pretty creative and get better punishes, like this. Keep in mind that these are just a few examples of the kind of things Aganos can do. A lot of this is dependent on the amount of hits of armor he has, as well as your opponent's resources. Plus, a lot of times people won't even engage you if you have that many chunks of armor. Don't worry though, if you don't have any pieces of armor, you can also use Shadow Meter to get through almost anything. We'll save that for another video though.